I'm with Kelvin Hopkins, who's the Labour MP for Luton North, and I wanted to ask him what he considers are the main things that he's achieved as an MP in the last 5.5 years.
Well, I think one ought to perhaps put those into national efforts and local achievements. At the local level, I've fought on many fronts, but one particular thing which is very visible, very tangible, is that I've succeeded in persuading the Minister for Roads to agree to erect sound barriers along the sides of the M1 through Luton, where it goes very close to homes, schools and hospitals and so on. So I think that's a very visible and tangible achievement, but most of my political life is spent fighting on national issues. These are all in the interests of my constituents, but they're actually less measurable in a sense than seeing something obvious like the motorway barriers. I work every day on a whole range of issues. I'm concerned with the economy above all, full employment. I was chair of the Full Employment Forum before it merged with a group called Catalyst, run by Lord Roy Hattersley. I've got a great interest in transport, in particular housing as well. And I've spoken on a wide range of issues, and the extent to which one's achieved very much in that one doesn't know, but I think I've pushed very hard on key issues. I've got a particular interest in the European issue, and I'm very strongly opposed to Britain's joining the Euro, for example. Now I've helped to form a group called Labour Against the Euro. I've spoken in the House on several occasions against the Euro, and I've written a lot about the Euro. I'm very strongly in favour, I may say, of international cooperation and the European solidarity and cooperation, but specifically the Euro I'm not. So in a sense that has had a measurable effect, I think, on the politics of the Labour Party in Parliament. I've spoken a number of times on things, as I say, railways is another area as well. I'm a member now currently of the Public Administration Select Committee, and I'm again speaking on, I think, very significant issues there. I'm a member of the European Standing Committee B, which is one of the scrutiny committees. All European legislations, anything that happens in Europe, comes to the European Select Committee, European Legislation Select Committee, and they refer items to these subcommittees, of which one is B. And I've been on that for the last 5.5 years. I've spoken many times, at every meeting in fact I've made some sort of contribution, and I hopefully have had a measurable impact on government thinking and the thinking of my colleagues in Parliament. But often politics is rather like that. It's not about notching up big achievements on a daily basis or even an annual basis. It's about putting your shoulder to the wheel politically and winning people to your arguments and denting other people's arguments, putting down everyday emotions, speaking in debates, talking to people and pushing as hard as you can for what you think is important. And I think the things that are important are full employment, equality in terms of making sure living standards are fair for everyone, pensions. I fought hard on the pensions issue, trying to reduce the level of means testing for benefits in general. A major campaign from me has been to increase spending on the health service, and that's actually starting to happen now, but it's been a long, hard campaign. I've written and lobbied ministers on countless occasions on health spending, and health spending is, I think, central. It's probably the number one issue in Britain, it is still today. I'm one of those people on the left of the Labour Party. Well, I didn't used to be on the left, but I'm very much a traditional democratic socialist, and all my views were formed in really as a child in the post-war era, days of Attlee, later on Bevan and Wilson, and the more traditional Labour Party, who believed in full employment, welfare state, a degree of public ownership, particularly public utilities. That is my area of politics, and I haven't changed my view, and I keep arguing the case for all of those values, which I still think are right, and I put them as often as I can. Occasionally we have difficulty because from time to time I have been a rebel in parliamentary votes, in votes in the Commons, But this is always done with difficulty, not done with any relish, but has to be done. And if somebody comes to me and says, I want you to cut benefits to the disabled, I will say, I refuse to do that. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's our public policy, and I will vote against. So that's just an example of the kind of thing which I might rebel on. And from time to time, many of us do stand out and say, we don't accept this and we're going to rebel. So they all sound like small things, but together they make up the totality of politics when you do have an impact. And I like to think, in fact I'm sure I have had a measurable impact on politics in the House of Commons, and particularly within my own party, and I intend to carry on doing that.
Right. Well, Luton's a very diverse community. We've got a lot of people from overseas living here and visiting as students. How do you represent those people, and are there any particular difficulties that you have to overcome for those people?
Well, I think by and large those people from ethnic minorities tend to be less well off and tend to have high levels of unemployment, high levels of deprivation than the others, although there are many poor people who are not from ethnic minorities as well. And so I fight hard for them, but I think their concerns are taken with the less well off in general and those who have more difficulty in life. Of course there are many successful people from the ethnic minorities as well, but there are significant numbers in Luton who do have a degree of deprivation. When it comes to our community, I think we've been very successful compared with most other areas in integrating our community, in developing good community relations. I've always been an anti-racist from my earliest days, even from a small child. I was always very strongly against racism, and in Luton, in my 33 years here, I've always been involved in the anti-racist movement. I was a founder member of the Luton Committee for Racial Harmony, and I speak on a regular basis at their conferences, and I work constantly for racial harmony and for equality and friendship between people of different origins. So, I play my part in that, and I'm very conscious of the needs of minorities, but also the less well off from the host community, from the ethnic majority community as well. My concern is about equality and social justice for everyone.
Right, thank you very much.